Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah al-aliyyil azim. Alhamdulillah rabbil alameen wa sallallahu ala sayyidina wa nabiyyina Abil Qasim al-Mustafa Muhammad. وآله الطيبين الطاهرين لا سيما بقية الله في الأرضين أجل الله تعالى فرجه الشريف وجعلنا من أعوانه وأنصاره وشيعته. السلام على الحسين وعلى علي بن الحسين وعلى أولاد الحسين وعلى أصحاب الحسين ورحمة الله وبركاته. In the last three sessions, we talked about the significance of visiting mu'mineen. And we said that even if these mu'mineen are not very high in their level of spirituality, maybe they are not, saints or, holy people, but mu'min, practicing mu'min, when for the sake of Allah, they visit each other, then their connection creates a sacred space. And it is so sacred that Allah says, He is visiting me. This visitor is visiting me. And we talked about how Allah asked the angels, 70,000 angels, to go with this person all the way till goes back to home. Then we talked about the significance of shaking hand also, and also about visiting even after our brothers or sisters pass away, and how good it is for the visitor and also for the person who is visited, the dead person who is visited. So now we want to continue our discussion with visiting holy people, sacred people, ma'sumin, prophets, imams, or people who are very close to them. There are people who are ma'sum, there are people that we say they are tali telve ma'sum. They come just next to ma'sum. So what about visiting them? Now you can imagine this would be very, very special. If for visiting a moment Allah says, you have visited me, then what about visiting the Prophet or Imams? In order to better understand the significance of this kind of ziyarah, first I start with a Quranic discussion. Some of you might be familiar with my discussion about the concept of light. Sometimes I had one lecture, for example, 90 minutes, sometimes 7 lectures. I give you just a very brief aspect of it. There are different ways that we can talk about the whole world. Quran uses some concepts to describe the whole world, including Allah Himself. So we have such fundamental concepts that can be used for Allah and the creation. For example, the concept of al-haq. Haq and batil, truth and falsehood, have the potential of explaining everything. Allah is al-haq, ذَلِكَ بِأَنَّ اللَّهَ هُوَ الْحَقِّ. The whole creation of skies and heaven is bil-haq. Sending revelation is bil-haq. Allah says, bil-haq anzalnahu wa bil-haq nazal. Allah sent the Quran down bil-haq and the Prophet received it bil-haq. Nothing happened in this between to affect the true message of Allah. And also the Prophet delivers it bil-haq. The Prophet would not change even one letter of this. لو تقبل علينا بعض الأقاويل لأخذنا منه باليمين ثم لقطعنا منه الوتين. إنه لكتاب عزيز لا يأتيه الباطل. Falsehood has no way to penetrate into the Quran. Okay, so one concept is haqq, has such potential. Another concept which has such great potential is life. Life is also something that you can use it for Allah. Allah is Al-Hayy. And also for the whole creation. The one that we want to talk about today is Nur, light. Light is also like Al-Haq and like Al-Hayat, like life. You can use the concept of light to explain everything. We don't have, unfortunately, time to explain whole system. Just I refer to some aspects. If you are interested and you want to just listen to one lecture, so I have one lecture at the University of Carleton in Ottawa, 90 minutes about the concept of light. One aspect of it is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala himself is the absolute light. We don't have any absolute light except Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. In Dua Yukumel we say, Ya Nuru, Ya Quddus. The only light which is to be glorified, which is free from any deficiency is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Any other light, first of all, is dependent, is created. Secondly, is limited, is finite. Only light of Allah is infinite, unlimited, independent, creative. Anything else is created, is limited. Allah says, Allahu alladhi khalaqa as-samawati wal-ard wa ja'ala adh-dhulumati wan-nur. Allah is the one who created the skies and the earth and made darkness and light. So there are two ways to talk. You can say creation, you can say ja'al of nur and zulma. The two sides of the same coin. Okay? You can use the language of khalaqa or ja'ala. Khalaqa as-samawati wal-ard or ja'ala adh-dhulumati wan-nur. And it is interesting that in the Quran, Nur is one. Zulumat is plural. Because we have only one Nur, that is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But there are many ways to be in darkness. Yeah, like Sirat. Sirat is singular. There is only one Sirat. Subul is ways, plural. This is sub roads, but the main path is one. Also in the Quran, deen is one, but there is only one way. In Quran, we don't have adyan, we don't have religions. So, Nur is one. Allah has made darkness and light. Okay? So, anything which is created has a portion of light, a degree of light. Okay? So, we could classify beings if we were able to see the light. You would be able to say there are different types of lights. If light is to this extent it would be like a stone and wood. If it is to this extent, would be like plants. If this is to this extent, would be like animals. If it is to this extent, would be human beings when they are born. So every creature is given some portion of light, and their light is fixed, except for those who have free will, have choice. So a horse, an elephant, a flower, even angels, their light is fixed. It's not that they can, do more ibadah and become, more enlightened. Even angels, their light is not going to increase. مَا مِنَّا إِلَّا لَهُ مَقَامٌ مَعْلُومٌ. They have fixed position. Human beings and jinns, these are the only creatures that we know. Allah knows, of course, if there is anything else. But as far as we know from the Quran, only two creatures have ability to increase their light or to lose their light. And that's human beings and jinns. When Allah creates human beings, gives them light. To begin with, every human being is given some light. This is light of fitrah, light of aql. Every human being starts with some light. Then the whole life is either a journey towards more light or less light. الله ولي الذين آمنوا يخرجهم من الظلمات إلى النور والذين كفروا أولياؤهم الطاغوت يخرجونهم من النور إلى الظلمات. You may say, why? If someone listens carefully, may have this question, why? When it comes to mu'mineen, says يخرجهم من الظلمات إلى النور, as if they start from darkness. But when it talks about kuffar, says يخرجونهم من النور إلى الظلمات. This question, the answer is it's a relative issue. When you move from the light that you have towards more light, means you are going from darkness to light. When you go from the light that you have to lesser light, means you are going from light to darkness. Because we don't have absolute darkness. Absolute darkness doesn't exist. Allah is absolute light, okay? Is it possible something to be created by Allah and be absolute dark? It's impossible. Everything which is created has light. But the thing is that how we turn towards them. If you turn towards them in the wrong way, then you may see dark side of them. But everything as they stand for Allah, they have light. Even bad people, they are not in absolute darkness. Otherwise, they were not created. In any case, it's a relative issue. Either you are moving towards more light or less light. This is for human beings, possible. That you can continuously add to your light or lose your light. Quran also tells us that one of the tasks of the prophets was to take people from darkness to light. For example, Ya Musa, أخرج قومك من الظلمات إلى النور. Surah Ibrahim. O Moses, take your people from darkness to light. So Allah waliyul ladina amanu, how Allah does this? Allah uses his people and Allah uses means and asbab. So prophets were responsible to take their people from darkness to light. Also, the books that are sent by Allah, these are books that give light. For example, Allah says, من الناس من يجادل في الله بغير علم ولا هدى ولا كتاب منير. These heaven books heavenly books, they are all Kitab Munir, means they are illuminating book. And in particular, Torah, for example, if you refer to Surah Ma'idah, verse 44, Allah says, Inna anzalna Torah fiha hudan wa nurun. We send down Torah. In Torah, there is guidance and light. Or in Surah An'am 91, Allah says, قل من أنزل الكتاب الذي جاء به موسى نورا وهدى. Who brought the book that Musa, sent down the book that Musa brought, in which there is light and guidance. Injil has light. Surah Ma'idah 46. وَآتَيْنَاهُ الْإِنْجِيلِ فِيهِ هُدًى وَنُورٌ. So all divine books have light, Kitab Munir. In particular, Torah is mentioned, Injil is mentioned, and also Quran. Surah A'raf, verse 157. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, فَالَّذِينَ آمَنُوا بِهِ وَعَزَّرُوهُ وَنَصَرُوهُ وَاتَّبَعُوا النُّورَ الَّذِي أُنزِلَ مَعَهُ. Those who believed in the Prophet and supported him and followed the light which is sent down with the Prophet. What is this light? It's Quran. Surah Ma'idah 15. Ya Ahlul Kitab, قد جاءكم رسولنا, up to قد جاءكم من الله نور وكتاب مبين. Quran is Nur and Kitab Mubin, a clear book. Surah Nisa, أنزلنا إليكم نورا مبينا. So Quran is Nur Mubin, is Kitab Mubin and Nur Mubin. Okay? So lots of references to light are there in the Quran. It's a whole system. Now, one aspect of this discussion about light is mentioned in Surah An-Nur. You know, we have a surah, Surah An-Nur. In Surah An-Nur, we have Ayat An-Nur. Yeah? Ayat An-Nur in Surah An-Nur. I don't know, at the moment, I don't remember any case that we have an ayah and surah with the same name. For example, we have Ayatul Tathir in Surah Al-Ahzab, Ayatul Wilaya in Surah Al-Ma'idah. But this is Ayatul Nur in Surah Al-Nur, Nurun ala Nur. So, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, Allahu Nuru Samawati wal Ardh. This discussion, inshallah, will help you till end of your life. So please say salawat. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad. And we ask Allah, inshallah, to, shed light, inshallah, on all of us. So, Allahu Nuru Samawati wal Ardh. Allah is the light of heavens and the earth. It means that heavens and the earth also have light, but they receive the light from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. According to this ayah, we have all the right, all the permission to say Allah is Nur. Because he himself says, Allahu Nuru Samawati wal Ardh. In our du'as, we have many cases. For example, in Du'a Ahd, we have in Du'a Jawshan Kabir, we have, that Allah is Nur. But in the Quran, the only ayah seems to be this ayah, because we have two ayah which says Nur Allah, but that means Nur from God. The only ayah which says Allah is Nur is this ayah. Allahu nuru samawati wal ardh. Now, you may say, how can we have some understanding of this light? Can there be any analogy? Because Quran many times use analogies, parables, mathal. And we know Allah has no misl, but Allah has mathal. Yeah, there is nothing similar to Allah, but example is okay. Mathalu nurihi, not mislu nurihi. Yeah, it's not similar, it's example. It's an analogy. Mathalu nurihi kamishkatin fiha misbah. المصباح في زجاجة الزجاجة كأنها كوكب دري يوقد من شجرة مباركة زيتون لا شرقية ولا غربية يكاد زيتها يضيء ولو لم تمسسه نار نور على نور. Imagine there is a niche, mishkat. What is mishkat? Mishkat is a place that they design in the wall. You can put lantern inside this space, and both sides of the wall can benefit from the light. So it must be visible from both sides. In this way, people who are inside the room and outside, they can benefit. You can put it in your court. People inside and people on the street, they can benefit from this light. This is called mishkat. Misbah is lantern, the lamp which is put inside mishkat. Okay? Normally, we use glass for lantern. Why? For, first of all, letting the air go well, circulation. Plus, it's a matter of protection. Wind, I don't know, a child, I don't know, something which is passing by would not, extinguish this lantern. Plus, glass has very high level of transparency. If you put, something like iron or, stone, doesn't let the light go. Although the glass is not 100% transparent, some of the light will be absorbed and become heat, but it has high level of transparency. But this glass is different. The glass that we use has no light and even takes some of the light of the lantern. But this glass is the one that by itself is shining. As zujaja. كأنها كوكب دري. Just the glass by itself is like a shining star. Just the glass. Then in the lantern, we put some oil. Yeah, and then we ignite it, we put on fire, and it starts giving light. Here, the oil is not petrol or gasoline, is olive oil. Something that you can even eat. And it is not an ordinary olive oil. It's from a tree that has had maximum exposure to sunshine. Olive needs sunshine. In Mediterranean climate, you have olive tree. If the olive tree goes straight to the sky, then from every angle gets sunshine. In the morning from one side, in the middle of the day from top, then in the afternoon from the other side. But if this tree was leaning towards one side, for example, was leaning towards east, then this side wouldn't have good exposure. If it goes to the west, this side wouldn't have. So Allah says, La sharqiyya wa la gharbiyya. Straight towards middle of the sky. And the oil that you get when you have good sunshine, this oil is very clean, very pure. But in dunya, even if you have the best olive oil, still it's dark. Yeah? If you have olive oil here and the light is off, can you see it? Can you find the olive oil when there is no light? No. But this olive oil is of such a nature that without putting on fire wants to shine. يَكَادُ زَيْتُهَا يُضِيءُ وَلَوْ لَمْ تَمْسَسْهُ نَارٌ. So the glass is like a star, shining star. The oil wants to shine without even fire touching this. Now imagine if you put on fire, what happens? Noorun ala nur. This is ayah 35 in Surah Nur 24. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, يَحْدَ اللَّهُ لِنُورِهِ مَنْ يَشَاءُ وَيَضْرِبُ اللَّهُ الْأَمْثَالَ لِلنَّاسِ وَاللَّهُ بِكُلِّ شَيْءٍ عَلِيمٌ. Then the next ayah, فِي بُيُوتٍ. Unfortunately, sometimes people don't read the next ayah with this ayah. But the next ayah is part of the conversation. Because Allah says, the analogy is not yet complete. We said, مَثَلُ نُورِهِ كَمِشْكَاتٍ, but this mishkat is where? فِي بُيُوتٍ. You are very surprised by this mishkat. But now let us see where this mishkat is located. So remember everything we said about the oil, about the glass, about the niche. But this is to be found in houses. في بيوت أذن الله أن ترفع ويذكر فيها اسمه. They are found in houses that Allah has permitted to be elevated. And then they can be place of remembrance of Allah. It's not that every place can become masjid. It's not that every house can become a place for salat. It needs value. These are places that Allah has given permission to be raised and become place of remembrance of Allah. Allah. In dunya, value of house can be independent from value of those who live in the house. Even a house can be empty, it still has value. Yeah? An empty house can have value. Or even a bad person can go to an expensive house. Yeah? But in the spiritual house, the value of house is always because of the value of the inhabitant. Sharaful makan bil makin. Honor of every place depends on who is in that place. Rasulullah doesn't get credit from the house or building. His house is very small. Maybe it was the simplest house in Medina. But the house of Rasulullah becomes very special because Rasulullah lives in this house. If I don't have myself that much self-esteem or, value for myself, I try to get value from having very large, expensive, luxurious house, so that people respect me. Because there is nothing else. People respect me for that. So I want them to respect me because of my house, because of my car, because of my clothes. Yeah? But in the spirituality is different. Why these houses are special? Because يسبح له فيها بالغدو والآصال رجال لا تلهيهم تجارة ولا بيع عن ذكر الله وإقام الصلاة وإيتاء الزكاة يخافون يوما تتقلب فيه القلوب والأبصار. These houses are the houses of people that in morning and evening they do tasbih. They glorify Allah. And of course in between, because then he says nothing make them forget Allah. Even selling, buying, purchase, merchandise, nothing make them forget. Because when you are doing business, you have to be very careful. Either because you are an honest person, you don't want to, for example, sell less, you want to observe the rights of people. Or you are worried, the other party may cheat you. So for different reasons, when you are selling and buying, you have to be very alert. Yeah. It's not, like salat that you may say, I put it in autopilot and then I do salat. When you are in shop, you have to be alert. But these are the people, even when they are buying or selling, they are not forgetting Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They are not forgetting salat. They are not forgetting zakat. So, from this we understand that the light of Allah comes from the lantern, which is in the houses where there are people who continuously remember Allah. So we understand that the light from our side is to remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He is absolute light. We are mirrors. If we turn towards Allah and remember Him, we reflect light. Okay? We cannot create light. Forget it. مَنْ لَمْ يَجْعَلِ اللَّهُ لَهُ نُورًا فَمَا لَهُ مِنْ نُورٍ. Allah has to give you light. You cannot create light. If all people of the world can want to produce even 1 degree of light, they cannot. This light only comes from Allah, like existence. But what we can do is we can turn towards Him and reflect His light to ourselves and to others. أَفَمَنْ شَرَحَ اللَّهُ صَدْرَهُ لِلْإِسْلَامِ فَهُوَ عَلَى نُورٍ مِّن رَبِّهِ فَوَيْلٌ لِلْقَاسِيَةِ قُلُوبُهُم مِّن ذِكْرِ. There are people that they have opened their chest. Therefore, the light is coming and they have nur. And there are people whose heart is qasiyah. They have hard hearts. They don't remember Allah. They are in darkness. So we need to just open ourselves. We just need to let light of Allah come to us. This is the meaning of zikr. What is zikr? Is to open yourself to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. To be a mirror. So, Quran says, in this world, there are houses from which the light of Allah is spread. And the reason is because there are people inside these houses who continuously remember Allah, who continuously do tasbih. So they are da'imul dhikr. Because they are da'imul dhikr, therefore they continue to receive light and give light. Light is something that cannot be hidden. Even if you don't talk about your light, if you have light, it spreads. People feel. If someone has light, people benefit. So these people receive light and the light is spread. Now, Suyuti Jalaluddin Abdul Rahman Suyuti al-Shafi'i, a very well-known Shafi'i scholar, Mufassir. He has the book Durrul Manthur, his Tafsir al-Riva'i, his hadith-based tafsir. He has books on Ulum al-Quran, Al-Itqan fi Ulum al-Quran. He's very famous. He says, An Anas ibn Malik wa Buraidah, two companions of the prophets, قال قرأ رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله هذه الآية. Rasulullah recited this ayah في بيوت أذن الله أن ترفع فقام إليه رجل. Someone stood up and asked a question. فقال أي بيوت هذه يا رسول الله. Which houses are these houses? He was listening carefully and he wanted to understand more. Rasulullah said, هي بيوت الأنبياء. These are the houses of the prophets. So this is something real. It is not just imagination or, kind of fantasy or khayal. It's a reality. These are houses of the prophets. Because prophets always remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So from their houses, the light of Allah is spread. Then فَقَامَ إِلَيْهِ Abu Bakr. This is Shafi'i saying this. The first Khalifa then stood up, asked another question. Ya Rasulullah, هذا البيت منها لبيت علي وفاطمة. He pointed at the house of Imam Ali and Lady Fatima because Masjidun Nabi, house of Imam Ali and Lady Fatima were also open to the masjid. And, at one point Rasulullah closed all the gates, فَسَدَّ الْأَبْوَابَ إِلَّا بَابَهُ, except the door of Imam Ali and Lady Fatima's house. So they still had entrance to the masjid. Other people had to go out and come from the gate of masjid. So he pointed to the house of Lady Fatima and Imam Ali. And he said, is this one of them? Rasulullah said, Buyutul Anbiya, the houses of the prophets. I don't know why he asked this question, but it's a good question. Rasulullah said, Na'am, min afadilha. Allah sallallahu. This is Durrul Mansur Suyuti Shafi'i. Rasul said, yes, and it's one of the best of them. We have 124,000 prophets. Yeah, but their houses are not the same. They have different. If Quran says some of the prophets are higher than other prophets. In Shia sources also we have, for example, Ali ibn Ibrahim Qummi in his tafsir quotes from Jabir, from Imam Baqir alayhi salam. هي بيوت الأنبياء وبيت علي منها. So Sunni and Shi'a have said that the houses of the prophets are where this light is spreading, and the house of Imam Ali and Lady Fatima is one of those houses. Now, you may ask, but Imam Ali is not a prophet. Lady Fatima is not a prophet. Rasulullah said, Buyutul Anbiya. Two answers can be given. One is that Rasulullah didn't say only Buyutul Anbiya. Yeah, we say, we say, إثبات الشيء لا ينفي ما عداه. If I say, for example, Mr. So and Mr. So are here, it doesn't mean no one else is here. Okay? This is one answer. But the deeper answer is this. House of Amirul Mu'mineen and Lady Fatima is one of these houses because their house is house of the Prophet. Amirul Mu'mineen doesn't have any house of himself. They are Ahlul Bayt Nabi. So the meaning of Ahlul Bayt now becomes clearer. Ahlul Bayt doesn't just mean family. Ahlul Bayt means people who are qualified to be inhabitants of this buyutan. Adhan Allahu an turfa. So they must be like prophets, all the time remembering Allah. So it's not every relative of the Prophet is Ahlul Bayt al-Nabi. Yes, if you mean physical house, yes. Everyone who is living in that house is the physical household of the Prophet. But we are talking about a spiritual household. A spiritual household, by Quranic definition, are only the people that رِجَالٌ لَا تُلْهِهِمْ تِجَارَةٌ وَلَا بَيْعٌ عَنْ ذِكْرِ اللَّهِ وَإِقَامِ الصَّلَاةِ وَإِيتَاءِ الزَّكَاةِ. So, house of Imam Ali is part of the house of the Prophet. Allahumma salli. Allahumma salli. When we go to any shrine, you go to Najaf, Karbala, Kazimin, Samirra, Mashhad. What should be your understanding? Your understanding should be that you are not going to a graveyard. You are going to a house to visit someone who lives there. And that house is part of the house of the Prophet. In Mashhad, when you go for Ziyarah, what do you say in Azna Dukhul? Allahumma inni waqaftu ala babin min abwab buyut nabiyyik. Oh Allah, I am standing next to a gate of the gates of the houses of the Prophet. So Prophet has different entrances to his house. One entrance is Medina. One entrance is Najaf. One entrance is Mashhad. One entrance is Karbala. One entrance is Kazimin, Samirra. But from every entrance, when you enter, it is house of the Prophet. Allahumma salli. وَقَدْ مَنَعْتَ النَّاسَ أَنْ يَدْخُلُوا إِلَّا بِإِذْنِهِ. And you said to people that you must not enter the house of the Prophet except with his permission. Yeah? In Surah Hujurat. يَا أَيُّهَا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا لَا تَدْخُلُوا بُيُوتَ النَّبِيِّ إِلَّا أَنْ يُؤْذَنَ لَكُمْ. For the physical house, you need permission. For the spiritual house, you don't need permission. For the physical house, even without permission, someone can enter. Yeah, without permission, someone can enter. A thief can enter, or a troublemaker, can enter. Physical house, but a spiritual house, impossible to enter without permission. It's impossible. Allah. Because I want to enter a sacred space for the people that continuously remember Allah. That mishkat fiha misbah is in that house. I want to benefit from that house. How can I benefit from that house without having their permission? And what does permission mean? It means that you know what you want to do here. If you go to a library and doesn't know what is library, so you don't have permission to benefit from them, automatically, because you don't know what is library. Instead of using the books, you may start talking with your mobile, or you drink coffee, in the library. So you are not benefiting from library. So people can go to the shrine and do different things. But if they know what is the purpose of this place and what is the function of this place, and they tune themselves to that and get permission, then they get connection. Then the light reaches them. And this is a gift of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because generally speaking, no one can benefit from other people's qualities. If I sit or look at someone who is generous, I become generous? No. If someone has lots of, knows many languages, many skills, by looking at them or going to their house, I don't get, those skills or languages. Ziyarah is a blessing of Allah. That when you make intention of connecting to those people because of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah removes the barriers between your heart and them and lets their light reach you. And as long as you are in that condition, that light is given to you. You are being charged. If you save it, you can keep it for all your life. And next time get more. Charge your battery. Our battery is unlimited. So you can, go every day and still be charged. Then you can use this energy in your work, in your life, family, etc. You can give this light to other people, or na'uzubillah, after ziyarah, make a scene and lose the light. Then you have to, again, go and charge yours. So, iznud dukhul means that I am preparing myself. I am telling myself why I am here, why I want to do here. Who are these people who are here? For example, we say, again to Imam Reza alayhi salam inside, أشهد أنك تشهد مقامي وتسمع كلامي وترد السلام. I bear witness that you are aware of my presence. How many people go there? At one point, maybe tens of thousands of people are there. But Imam, bi'iznillah, is aware of every single person. They speak different languages. They speak in their heart. But tasma'u kalam. You hear me. Because Imam doesn't need you to speak. Imam gets information from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. وَتَرُدُّ السَّلَامِ. If you go with permission and say salam, it's impossible that they don't reply. Because this is Quranic instruction. إِذَا حُيِّيتُم بِتَحِيَّةٍ فَحَيُّوا بِأَحْسَنَ مِنْهَا أَوْ رُدُّوهَا. And the beauty of our teachings is that when we go to the shrine, we don't just say salam to the imam or to the personality who's buried there. Because if we just say salam to him, then we are just getting one reply. But we know that this is house of the Prophet. So I say salam to the Prophet as well. I'm in a holy place, so let me now offer my salam to the Prophet and then get his reply. I say salam to Amirul Mu'mineen and get his reply. Lady Khadija, Lady Fatima, all of them are there. And also houses of the prophets from our side are different. From behind they are all connected. So I can say salam to Adam and Nuh and Ibrahim and Musa and Isa. Because they are all connected to Allah. These houses are all from behind connected. So when you go to any shrine, don't think just that Imam is there. All are there. But this Imam is responsible for this site. Someone is responsible for another site. But all are for the Prophet and then prophets and then for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So our concept of ziyarah of Imams or the Prophets is Quranic, is very deep, very spiritual, and inshallah tomorrow we will talk more about this based on some hadith, inshallah. Tomorrow, inshallah, I also talk about significance of Ziyarah of Arbaeen, inshallah, because everything comes in kind of sequence. Assalamu alayka ya Aba Abdullah وعلى الأرواح التي حلت بفنائك عليك مني سلام الله أبدا ما بقيت وبقي الليل والنهار ولا جعله الله آخر العهد مني لزيارتكم السلام على الحسين وعلى علي بن الحسين وعلى أولاد الحسين وعلى أصحاب الحسين اربعین آمد و اشکم ز بصر می آید گویا زینب محزون ز سفر می آید Arbaeen has arrived and my tears are coming. It seems that Zainab is returning from her journey. باز در کربلا شیون و شینی برپاست که از اسیران ره شام خبر می آید. Again in Karbala, there are cries because the captives are coming back from Sham. 40 روز است گلگون گشت صحرا، ز خون پاک فرزندان زهرا. It's 3 days that this plain of Karbala is covered by the blood of the pure children of Zahra. 40 روز است گلهای پیامبر میان خاک و خون گردیده پر. It's 40 days that the flowers of the prophet are destroyed between soil and blood. 40 روز است زهرا بی حسین است، جهانی از غمش در شور و شین است. It's 40 days that Zahra has lost Hussein. Zahra's Hussein is killed and the whole world is in grief. 40 روز است زینب زار و گریان، پرستاری کند او از یتیمان. It's 40 days that Zainab is crying and looking after the orphans. 40 روز است سرای شهیدان بود در پیش چشمان اسیران. It's 40 days the heads of martyrs are being carried in front of the eyes of the captives. 40 روز است دل زینب شکسته، نظاره می کند بر دست بسته. It's 40 days that Zainab's heart is broken because she is looking at the hands of Imam Zainul Abidin which are tied by the chains. حسین جان عالمی دیوانه تو، رضا قربان آن دردانه تو. Oh, say we are all your lovers, we are all in deep pain for your little daughter. ألا لعنة الله على القوم الظالمين وسيعلم الذين ظلموا أي منقلب ينقلبون. نسألك اللهم وندعوك باسمك العظيم الأعظم الأعز الأجل الأكرم وبدم الحسين. يا الله 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 يا رحمن يا رحيم يا أرحم الراحمين يا مقلب القلوب ثبت قلوبنا على دينك واكفنا يا قاضي الحاجات ويا كافي المهمات إنك على كل شيء قدير. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. اللهم اشف مرضانا، اللهم ارحم موتانا، اللهم اقض حوائجنا، اللهم أد عنا الدين وأغننا من الفقر، اللهم يسر أمورنا، اللهم بيض وجوهنا، اللهم عجل في فرج مولانا صاحب الأمر، اللهم اجعلنا من أعوانه وأنصاره، اللهم اجعل عواقب أمورنا خيرا برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين.
Imam Husayn, Imam Husayn.